Today we are going to talk about jQuery. So, what is jQuery? jQuery is a JavaScript library to write less and do more. What does it mean? We are going to talk about all of that in details. But first of all, how can I use jQuery? If you go to the jQuery.com, here you can find something like you can find download. You have multiple ways to use jQuery. One of them to download jQuery files and then add these files to your project or to your Visual Studio Code during your project, then you'll be able to use jQuery. Or you can use it as package with installing npm, or you can use it as CDN link from here. So you can go to the CDNs, then you will be able to get the CDN like that, then you can start to use jQuery. So here I want to do something to you to show you what does it mean write less and do more. So let's take a look for the syntax of jQuery. Usually, if we need to use vanilla JavaScript to target element from the HTML and do some actions like that. So I just targeted my element, which means heading. So let's delete this and return it back to the browser to see. So here I have the heading 1. To target this heading by vanilla JavaScript, I have to create a variable. Then I have to get this element by ID or by class name or by tag name. Then I want to make an action. So it will be like that. So here I have a variable document.getElement by ID, then the name of the ID. Then I did like heading style display none. So that was vanilla JavaScript. Now let's see the heading is gone. But with jQuery, how we can do it? So to be able to use jQuery, you can use $sign. So when you write $sign, the browser will understand that you're using jQuery. Then braces, here you can write hashtag, which means you're going to target element by ID. And here we have, it's called heading 1. Basically, what we need to do dot hide, right? And hide here is a function. So let's go to see the result. It is still the same. So before that, let's go back. See, here we have the heading, and here the heading is gone. So now we can see the powerful of jQuery. Just in this few line, just one line, few letters, we got the same result as vanilla JavaScript, 2 lines. So that's the powerful of using jQuery. And that's the syntax of jQuery. Today we are going to talk about the selectors, how we can target the element by tag name, how we can target element by class name, by ID. If we have nested elements, like for example, we have an order list inside the order list, or unordered list, we have list item, how we can target the list item inside the unordered list or order list, something like that. Also, we are going to talk about how to use jQuery with the CSS properties and with some attributes. So let's take a look, first of all, how we can target the element by the tag name. For example, here I have this header called H1, this heading H1, jQuery crash course. I want to do something for that. So how can I target that? By the name, tag name. So first of all, here I have $sign, then the name of the element is H1, then dot, for example, hide. I want to hide this element. Let's see, it's gone. So that's how to target element by tag name. And here we already talked about how we can target element by ID using hash, then the name of the ID. So let's go to see how we target element by class name. For example, here I have the heading 2, but let's think about something. Now we have an H1 here, and H1 here, and H1 here. When I'm targeting elements by tag name like that, it works for the all element that I have. Now I removed the element that I targeted already by ID, but still I can't see any of elements because I targeted all the H1 inside my file. So to ignore something like that, we can choose which element that I can target or I want to target, and also we can target by ID or by class name. So let's return back and target by ID as we did here and comment this one for now. Now we can see here, this one is returned back, this one is returned back to me, and this one has a class name. So we will get the class name here called heading 2, and here how we can target the element by class name. So the same double quote, and here dot for class name, and here the class name, then for example hide. Now we can see the result. Yep, it works. So that's how to target element by tag name, how to target element by ID, how to target element by class name. Now I want to target element or nested element inside my elements here. So how can I do something like that? Okay, so how we can target nested element. Let's take a look for our index HTML. Here we have paragraph, and inside the paragraph I have a span, and the span going with this text, which means here, where is it? So this line. So we need to hide this line for now. So what can or how we can target this element? So the same thing all the time, dollar sign. Then here I have paragraph, right? Inside the paragraph I have a span, which means a nested element. Then here dot hide, and let's take a look for that now. Oops, it's gone. So that's how to target element or nested element from HTML. But if you remember, when we did something like that, the all heading is gone, right? So all of heading gone. So how can I make a specific heading? How can I specify one of the heading that I have? Here, for example, I have H1. It's called heading 1. It has an ID. So I can use it like that, just heading 1, which means the by ID name. Or here I can get copy of the heading of the ID name, then doing like that, then it will just hide the first heading that should be here. So that's how to specify one of the headings. So now we learned how we can target element by tag name, by class name, by ID, by nested element, or we can specify one of the elements. Then now we are going to talk a little bit how to use CSS properties inside jQuery. So let's comment this and return here back. Let's take a look here. Our heading is returned back. So now I need, for example, to change the color of this heading. So how can we do it? So how to use the CSS properties inside your or using jQuery. So first of all, I'm going to target element by ID, which means heading 1, which means the first heading for us by ID, like that. Then dot CSS, then the braces, which means that's one of the function. Now here I have to write the property. In CSS, normally we were doing something like color, for example, then here, for example, red. So here we can consider this one as a value, this one is a value, this one is a key, so key and value. So how we can use it using jQuery, we can write here color, then comma to separate that, and here the value. So let's take a look. Indeed, so that's how to use the CSS properties inside jQuery. With this way, you can use here the background, the width, height, all of the properties. So how you can use multiple properties, you can just around all of this by curly braces, then you can do what you want. So let's get an example about that. So we can around this one, but in that case, when you're going to use an object here or consider it an object, so as I told you, we're considering this one key and value. So here I can behave with that as an object. So now I can do something like that. Here I have get a comma, then I can make, for example, background, and here the value will be, for example, blue. Let's see. So indeed, exactly the same. So here you can use width, height, margin, all of the properties with that way with CSS. So now we talked about how to target the elements, how to use the CSS. So let's take a look about attributes, how to use attributes with using jQuery. So let's comment this one. And here we go. So now if you can see, we have two links, one for Google, one for Yahoo. So all the time, the anchor element has attribute called href. So I want to change the color of Yahoo, for example, by using attribute using jQuery. So how can I do something like that? Let me get a copy of this. And here. So what can I do, or how can I do that? So first of all, I'm going to use $sign all the time. So $sign, and here I have the anchor element tag, and the anchor element tag I have the href, right? So inside href I have this link, and that link has, we can change the color, but I have to around all of this inside square bracket like that. So from the anchor element inside this one, which means the first index of the anchor element, the our attribute called href, and from href I have this link going to Yahoo. Then I can grab everything together, which means I'm going to use CSS. So here, for example, color, and the color maybe I'm going to use green. So let's take a look for that. So indeed, it changed the element. So again, it's dollar sign, then anchor element and href, and then the link, which means the value of the href attribute. Then we just use CSS to change the color, and instead of blue to be green. So today we talked about selectors inside jQuery. What is jQuery? How we can use it? The syntax of jQuery. How to target the element by class name, by tag name, by ID, and the nested element. How to use the CSS properties, and how to use the attributes of the element inside jQuery.